and I love your emails. But a lot of people have emailed me with a lot of good, solid, intellectual, knowledge-based material on file. Oh, we're not going to go bankrupt. And here's what. Ladies and gentlemen, that is insane. We will either go bankrupt because we will monetize our debt, or we will go bankrupt because we refuse to pay it. There is no option C. There is no option C. If we don't get a lid on this right now. I know it's falling on deaf ears. I know. But just like, this is why I covered this story here. Just like the Russian collusion hoaxers, I'm talking to the Republicans, the moderate Democrats, and even the conservatives out there who claim they care about this. History is not going to be kind to you if you don't change course now, because we will go bankrupt. There is no question about that. If you don't change course now, we will go bankrupt. And there will be a time when history turns on you too. And history will blame you for what you did. You signed those spending bills. It's your names on it. You voted for it. You'll have no way out. $34,000 on average per household in taxes. You understand that? The average American, you're working to make 40 to 50K a year to give $34,000 on average to the government? Has that hit you yet? Are you really getting $34,000 in services in return? All right, let's get to some of the Spygate stuff because this is fascinating. You know what? I want to run through this. So let me just get to our final sponsor of the day. Sometimes I alternate where I place the sponsors in the show because of the flow of the show, but I appreciate our sponsors being here, and I always appreciate your attention. They're really good. They keep the show free for you. This is a great sponsor we really love. Simply Safe. Listen, I want to remind my listeners, Simply Safe's huge holiday offer is here. It's their biggest sale of the year. Folks, we have Simply Safe in our house. If you're a friend of mine listening, you've been to my house, you've seen it. If you're looking to fully protect your home with award-winning 24/7 home security, now is the time to do it. Do you know this? Burglaries spike during the holiday season. New gifts, expensive gifts around the house. People see the boxes out front, the recycling boxes. What happens? Families travel, they leave empty homes and expensive gifts behind. Simply Safe's holiday sale couldn't come at a better time to ensure you're not a victim of one of these people looking to take advantage. Simply Safe has everything you need to protect your home and family. There's a smart lock and video doorbell pro to defend your front door. We'd love it. An army of sensors and cameras that guards every door and a room in your home. The app is super easy to use. Before I come into my studio, which we have alarmed every morning, I punch up the app, alarm off. Super easy. If there's a break-in, they can give you real-time video confirmation to the police as it happens, so police respond up to 3.5 times faster. We love Simply Safe here. It's no surprise that Simply Safe has won CNET and PC Magazine's Editor's Choice Awards. Simply Safe made a holiday offer with our listeners in mind, but it ends December 31st. They rarely do deals this big, folks. This is the time. Visit Simply Safe. That's simply with an I, SIMPLI, safe.com/Dan Bongino to find out just how much you'll save. And remember, the sale ends December 31st. Go today. Simplysafe.com/Dan Bongino, my first and last name, simplysafe.com/Dan Bongino. Don't wait. Very easy to set up. I recommend it. I really love their system. Super easy to use. Simplysafe.com/Dan Bongino. Okay. Where is this coming from, this Spygate stuff? I don't just randomly do segments. I mean, it was a bit of a slow news day. And Paula's like, I hate these slow news days because you send me so much on slow news days. That's when I get the chance to let my mind wander a bit about topics that are more evergreen. Well, I saw this story this morning at the Washington Examiner about Mike Rogers and him talking to John Durham. And I thought, oh boy, is this one worth addressing in the context of a larger story. The larger story I want to talk about is now that we have the IG report and the Durham report coming out, there are still unanswered questions here. And Rogers is a big part of one of them. So before we get to Mike Rogers and the Examiner thing, I want to discuss one other unanswered I'm talking about, there's a lot of unanswered questions about Spygate. I'm talking about the big stuff here. And this is the benefit of the show notes. If you go to them, we discuss articles again that are older that are now relevant again today. One of the big open sores in Spygate, I have not been able to get to the bottom of. And I have some ideas, and I've been pointed in a direction recently by some sources that I'm going to, all right, I'll get to that in a second. Let me just put up the Epic Times article that describes this. Remember, unanswered questions about Spygate. Hopefully we'll get to the bottom of the next few months. Jeff Carlson, who I have great respect for, has a piece I will have in the show notes today. It's from October of 2018, but again, it's worth your time. Again, in context of Mike Rogers, NSA director, former NSA director, now talking. Will he answer this question? Headline. NSA director Mike Rogers disclosed the FISA abuse days after the Carter Page warrant was issued. Folks, this is a great, great piece worth your rereading today, and why. There's a big takeaway from this. Mike Rogers, who was the former head of the National Security Administration, the NSA, the big spy apparatus we have. Rogers, conveniently days after the first warrant in October to spy on Carter Page, former Trump campaign team member, which I believe was a proxy attempt to try and spy on the Trump campaign. Rogers, seemingly out of the blue, airs a warning about the abuses of the FISA Act and people spying in the government on others. But there's this one thing that jumps out in the FISA report issued afterwards. Put up the screenshot number 1 from the Carlson piece. This is fascinating. I'm going to quote from it. On March 9, 2016, the Department of Justice oversight personnel learned, listen to this, that the FBI had been employing outside contractors who had access to raw Section 702 FISA data and retained that access after their work for the FBI was completed. The information was disclosed on a FISA court ruling. You can look it up yourself, folks. Just Google FISA court ruling, April 26, 2017. It was declassified by the DNI National Intelligence, Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates. What's the takeaway there? In light of yesterday's story, explosive story, which we addressed in light of what's going on about the CIA potentially moving information from the NSA's cloud into the CIA cloud where they could obfuscate the audit trail. If you missed yesterday's show, you missed it did crazy numbers for a Thursday during Christmas week. And I think that was why. Watch yesterday's show. I can't relitigate it, but it's about the CIA wiping clean their footprints on how they spied on people and how they did it, taking information from the NSA cloud. But now, why am I bringing this up today? We know Rogers is talking. Now we know that apparently there were abuses of the NSA database too by FBI contractors. So what's the unanswered question, you ask? Well, put up screenshot number 2 and we'll hit it. Quote from the Epic Times piece. This wasn't an isolated incident, talking about access in the NSA database. And the improper access granted to outside contractors, listen, here's a quote, seems to have been the result of deliberate decision-making. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, it was done on purpose. This was not a mistake. The FISA court noted, quote, the FBI's apparent disregard of minimization rules and questioned whether the FBI may be engaging in similar disclosures of raw Section 702 information that may not have been reported. Folks, the unanswered question here is, who the hell were those contractors? So now we know, if you listen to yesterday's show, or we highly suspect that Brennan may be in trouble because the information may have been relocated from the NSA database to the CIA cloud where the audit trail could have been wiped clean or made more opaque so that no one would see the footprints of what they did when they spied on you using the metadata.
Right.
A government database. It's a fancy way of saying that. But now we know, and we have known for a long time, according to the FISA court's own internal analysis here in that April 26 report, that the NSA's database too was being queried by contractors the FBI was paying that were deliberately abusing the database to search for things and people and queries. Who were those contractors that the FBI was working with? I've got a lead on this. I'm hesitant to put out, but I'll give you a hint because I'm not sure and I'm looking for triple backup on it. Unlike Roswell Rachel Maddow, who would just say random thoughts that came into her head and express them as facts. I'm afraid that they're going to use this contractor label. In other words, the contractors did it as an out. Joe, follow me here.
Yeah. What? Okay.
In other words, if let's say those contractors had something to do with foreign intelligence services, and the foreign intelligence services are going to be given an out for diplomacy purposes, and are going to be disguised as contractors. You don't get that. I get it. When Durham's report comes out, I want to be sure that the American people know the truth. If foreign countries were spying on Trump's campaign at the behest of the Obama administration, I want to know about it. And what I'm afraid of is that contractor label is going to be slapped on entities all over the place to disguise who they really were.
Gotcha.
So that the American people don't know the full truth. And the reason given is going to be, well, for diplomatic reasons, we don't want to embarrass these foreign countries.
Yeah.
No, we need to embarrass them. They embarrassed us.
Identity laundering, more or less. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Identity laundering. Very well said. Yeah. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to pretend Joe didn't say it. It's like identity laundering.
Cool.
Come on. I'm kidding, of course. That's a brilliant line. Identity laundering for the same reason the information was laundered under Steele. They laundered Steele's information to pretend it came from Russian sources so it looked real. It was all BS, folks. The identity laundering and the use of the term contractor may be used to clean the identity of where it originated. So for diplomatic reasons, we don't expose the identities of foreign countries that may have been spying on our own election for the Obama administration. Huge unanswered question.
Wow.
Now, some of those contractors, I'm sure, were legit contractors too. Legit meaning that they were contractors. I'm just afraid the label is going to be used for other things too.
Right.
But who were those contractors? Again, I have some ideas on that. God forbid one of those contractors, by the way, was Fusion or CrowdStrike. Imagine if that came up. The CrowdStrike. Can you imagine that if that came out? Ooh, that would be ugly. All right. Another one, hat tip Adam Baldwin, by the way, actor. I love Adam. He's really great. I was scrolling through Twitter this morning when I show prep. I go through Twitter, see what people are talking about. And he pulled up this gem out of the IG report with some highlights in it. Here's a photo of the IG report. Remember, we're talking about unanswered questions. The first unanswered question was what I just told you. Who were the contractors? Were they foreign governments? Was it Fusion? Was it CrowdStrike? Big open question. The second open question, how much did Obama know? I think this section of the IG report I'm going to read to you now answers Obama knew a whole lot, folks. So there's this part of the IG report where they're talking about the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment after the election. Remember, 17 intelligence agencies, the Russians hacked the election for Trump, what Devin Nunes calls Obama's dossier. They're talking about this, and here's a quote from the IG report when they're talking about the internal deliberations about what to include. Quote, the Intel section chief said that Andy McCabe, former deputy director of the FBI, understood President Obama's request for the ICA to require the participating agencies to share all information relevant to Russia and the 2016 elections. And the Steele election reporting qualified at a minimum due to concerns over possible Russian attempts to blackmail Trump. Look at this gem in the IG report. We covered this before, but it's worth covering again now. Uh-oh, I just closed my fingers in a circle. Oh, we go. Leftist media.
Take that out.
I'm not
Take
dead serious. You can't do that. You can't even make like the small sign anymore because if your fingers connect, you're like, it's a white power symbol. This is like how crazy of a world we live in now. I swear, I just did something. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. It's on camera. Oh, lunatics. Joy Reid will be talking about it. Says, look at this guy on the damn Bongino show. Folks, this is serious stuff. Getting back to the point here. How much did Obama know? So, ladies and gentlemen, if Andy McCabe understood Obama's instructions, include in that 17 intel agencies agree the Russians tried to interfere in the election at the behest of Trump, which was Obama's dossier. There's no question the Russians interfered, but to help Trump, that was beyond speculation. They only did that to nail Trump to the wall. It was Obama's dossier. McCabe understood that to mean include the Steele stuff, but how did Obama know about the Steele stuff? I thought he didn't know. Folks, this is a gem from the IG report. Again, hat tip Adam Baldwin. Nice work.